y'all doing? Today is Wednesday, July 16th. It is 12:30 p.m. I'm getting better at this YouTube thing, I guess you could say so. And being able to interact with my subscribers. So shout out to y'all. And I got this comment the other day, and I just wanted to respond to it. And shout out to this young lady. She's very active on the channel, so I want to show her some love. This is no beef or hostility. It says, "I take it you lived an easy life. Some of us are out here just trying to survive. What I've gone through in my life will give you nightmares. Um, Sleeping at the top, nightmares at the bottom. Everybody want to be fly till you swat 'em." Shout out Weezy F. Oh man, I love that comment because I don't look like 98.5% of the things I've been through. And I don't think you should let the environment break you. Like I said, the world takes advantage of broken people like never ever before. So it wants you to live through your trauma and live through your trials and tribulations. And something else that this world has taught us to do, which is really like kind of weird when you think about it, is have like victimhood Olympics, right? Like my trauma is worse than yours, or you don't know me, my life was hard. And it's like, okay, I'm sure you can go through every century or generation or period of time where humans have existed, and life is probably hard for the masses. um, and when you can step back and think about it from that perspective, it's like, okay, well, how can I use my hardships to help the masses? And maybe someone else out here is going through something hard that can help me, and I can overcome myself. See, we all are connected in this thing called life, but we refuse to see that. We only see it when it comes to cheering for our favorite sports team, I guess you can say. In Kansas City, people can hate each other, but when it's based around the Chiefs or the Royals, it's all love. Um, your favorite NBA team, I guess the Olympics when the USA teamers are playing like that, then we get pretty united. But outside of that, we have a very selfish culture, and I think you can look at the manifestation of it in society. But when people say, "Oh, you must have had an easy life," I personally take that as a compliment. I know how I grew up. I know how rough it was, and to not look like or associate with any of that, man, I give glory to God. Like truly, when people be like, "Man, you're so articulate and you speak so well," and did you go to a private school and you must have come from a great household? It's like me. You think so? Oh, okay. And I tell my children that like you have to be able to overcome any obstacle placed in your way. I remember so many times in my childhood saying, "Why is this happening? Why am I going through this?" Um, just being broken, like mentally, physically, spiritually. And then now I look back and man, I'm so chill because of what I went through. And I'm not where I want to be, but I'm definitely not where I was. So I'll give you an example, right? So when I was a kid, my father was in jail at the time, and me and my brother, I don't really know why, but my mom took us to Pizza Hut buffet on Linwood, and we sat down. I remember eating, and she was like, "Come on, let's go." And I kind of thought it was weird that we just like popped up and laughed, but me and my brother walked out the store, and we heard I think the people said, "Hey," or something like that. And my mama was extremely overweight, dog, so she couldn't run fast at all. I had some jets on me, so I took off. My brother was kind of slow as well. I remember the police coming. Police caught up to my mom and my little brother. They would have never caught me being G. Grandma lived on 33rd and Gillen, so it wasn't too far away. It was like two and a half blocks to get to grandma's house, so I was gone. A little track star. But I can remember mom getting stopped by the police, and then she turned on the tears and she started crying, and I had no way to feed my kids and blah blah blah. And I can remember the cops eventually letting her go. Versus you fast forward where I am today in life, and on Monday I was at Aldi's on 39th, and there was a homeless guy trying to get into the store, and the security guard wouldn't let him in, and the homeless guy was very upset and had threatened to go get a gun and come back to get kill the security guard. I went back to the store yesterday and seen the security guard, so he's still alive. Nothing popped off, but there was two ladies who were trying to steal groceries, and he had to run out the store and snatched the groceries out their hand. One of the chicks squared up with him. and he had to throw her to the ground, and the other chick tried to grab his gun, so he was tussling with her in the middle of the parking lot, and he pulled the gun out, and I just knew he was about to shoot her. The restraint he showed and the calmness and the composure with dealing with that situation was unbelievable. It'll never make the news. It'll never get any attention. Nobody will ever know about it. But man, the composure he kept while fighting those two women who were going for his gun, it was unreal to witness. And it got me thinking, man, like the last 2 days, Broden went through this with black people. I know the way he feels. It's like, I can't stand some of y'all. And I understand it 1,000,000%. But as you say, I must have lived a good life. Well, as a kid, we had to eat and dine and dash, as it was called. As an adult, I can take my kids to the grocery store and buy them anything they want at any given time. My children don't know what it's like to not have electricity in the home. They don't know what it's like to run an extension cord to the neighbor's house just so they can hook up the little skillet thing and make some little food. My children don't know what it's like not to have water in the home. And got to drive to your auntie house just to fill up some water jugs. So that's the way that you flush the toilet, or that's the way that you take wash ups and all that. I could say my children don't know what it's like to not have gas in the home, and you got to sleep with 3, 4 pair of sweatpants on and under 7, 8 blankets, and you still cold at that. Now my children, they don't know what any of that is like. So when you say, I guess you must have had an easy life, being real, while those things sound traumatic, they built a lot of character in me. They things that I can laugh at now because it made me so much more resilient through the everyday battles that we all face. Every single one of us wakes up daily and we fight something in this world. It's a spiritual battle, not a physical. So you may not be fighting a coworker. You may not be fighting traffic. You can be fighting the demons in your head. You could be fighting your last breakup. You could be fighting trying to lose weight. We all are going through something. So what you see in me is a reflection of you. So when you look at me and you say, man, he's had such an easy life, what you really saying is, if I do the inner work, I can have an easy life as well. Because in Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, he said, when you look back at your life through gratitude, you gain more wisdom. You learn more. Like I've learned more about me and my mother's relationship in the 10 years that she's been dead than the 25 years that she was alive. Sounds crazy, but that's just how introspective I am. Versus if I was still looking back at the relationship with my mother with resentment and anger and bitterness and hostility, I wouldn't have evolved at all. It'd be the same concept. It's his mama's fault and this and this and that. If you could talk to my daddy right now, he still say everything in his life is my mama's fault. Like he ain't took zero accountability for him and his drinking and his anger and being out of jail and not being able to hold a job down. He blames her for everything. But as the Bible says, honor your mother and thy father. So I forgive both of them. They can handle their own issues in their life. And wherever you are, man, I want to encourage you to forgive your mother and father. They did the best they could with the knowledge they had. I tell my own children that right now. My son, it all ties together. But listen, my son, 12 years old, JJ, his mother hit him up and said, hey, son, we're going to upgrade your phone. He's like, okay, cool, mom, whatever. And the weekend came, and he told me, Dad, after my basketball game, I'm going to leave with mom because we're going to get a new phone. And he seen her, and she was like, oh, well, I ordered it. It'll be here on Wednesday. And he was confused because of the prior conversation they had. And I told him, don't worry about it. And then earlier today, he said he texted his mom this morning about where's the phone. And she said, I wish you would do more than just ask me for stuff and learn to be grateful for what you have. And he was confused. Like, what do you mean? And I said, son, that's called gaslighting. But I said, but I don't want you to be upset at your mother at all because you just learned a valuable lesson. And that's the beauty of having a father is you get to learn these lessons. Like never let anyone make you feel bad for genuinely just asking questions and trying to understand what's going on. So with my son dealing with that situation right now with his mother, you can say that that's a hard life or a hard situation to deal with, quote unquote. But his awareness and his ability to understand manipulation when he becomes an adult, it's going to be off the charts. So, John 13:7, Jesus replied, you may not understand now and later you will. So when you look at someone and you think that they've had a easy life or haven't gone through anything, I challenge you to look a little deeper. Because if you look at anyone who's made it to be successful, you will find in a life they've had to overcome that same equivalent of hardship, of challenge, of adversity. And in every challenge or adversity, it's this the seed equivalency of knowledge, of positivity, of growth. And the Bible says all you need is a mustard seed. So every time you fall down, as Leah said, you can dust yourself up and stand up and try again, but you're trying out with knowledge, you're trying out with wisdom. You're not starting from zero every again. Um, so to dive back into what you said, I take it you've lived an easy life. I guess that's your perspective. Bob Proctor says we're all born rich. We're just a little short of wealth. I mean, we're just a little short of money. And I look at it from the perspective now with my evolution that we all come from the creator, so we're here to create. And your life, your challenges, your trials, your tribulations, that was your individual playbook. And if you complete the mission, you'll be able to live in your abundance because you've did your duty, you give your gift, you gave your service. And abundance for you is different than what it is for another individual. So don't compare your hard life to anyone else's. Don't compare your trials to anyone else's. Don't say what you've went through would give anyone else nightmares, because it could be your life would be like, oh, this is it. Nigga, this ain't that hard at all, like, so I don't feel like what I've been through, it would give anyone nightmares. It could be a walk in the park for some. It could be more than too much for a lot of people to handle. When we negate each other's trials and tribulations, we stop humanity from growing. And we need to be respectful of each other's feelings mutually if we want to evolve human consciousness. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So you have to be able to look at every situation and say, you know what? This too shall pass. And that's much easier said than done. Like I used to be an angry individual. But you learn to let go. You learn to just live, to just laugh, that you get to consume air. So if it's still air in your body, there's still a purpose for you. So what do you want to put out to the world? What story do you want to tell? You can literally live the story that my life has been so hard or so challenging. Or you can wake up every day and write a book. Overcame this today. Overcame that today. Overcame that. And then you'll look up and look what you got to give to the world. You got a whole story of negative situations that you've overcame. And you can say, well, I ain't overcame them because I'm still going through them, but you're still alive, right? You still got purpose. It's still air in your body. You're still moving forward. So how do you know tomorrow isn't your big breakthrough? I don't think the hardest part about being successful for humanity is handling the pressure of success once you've made it. I think it's not self-sabotaging yourself in the waiting period. It's not quitting. It's not letting imposter syndrome take over. I'm not saying this ain't for me, I'm going to retreat back. But to keep going and to have faith when you can't see anything, walking by pure faith, not sight. I think that is where a lot of people get hung up at, because the material world moves so much slower than the spiritual world. Like spiritually, you can evolve and grow, and physically, you're in the same spot. They say the visionary is often tortured by the vision, because in the imagination, you didn't popped off, you lit. But in the physical world, you still, hi, welcome to Good Burger. Home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order? It ain't caught up yet. But that's when you got to know it's coming. But it's hard in that period not to do something stupid, not to do something ignorant. And I'm speaking from experience. That's when you got to be the most disciplined. That's when you got to hold it down the most. That's when you got to be most in tune with the infinite. As Ralph Waldo Trine says. Go check out that book. Fantastic read. Because once you get the money and you get the success, then it's there. But when you know you didn't put the work in, see, that's the greatest thing about time, right? And that's what a lot of young kids forget, especially the hothead ones that carry pistols, is whatever you put out, it got to spin the bin and come back to you. And the longer it takes to come back to you, the bigger it could be. So if I'm just negative and I'm breaking in houses and I'm disrespectful and I'm rude and I'm toting guns and I'm hanging out the window with the chop, well, eventually I'm going to meet my maker. And I have a lot of friends that, if we being honest, they played stupid games and they won some stupid prizes, which is leaving this beautiful thing called Earth, called life, that we get a chance to experience. However, on the other side of it, people who are doing good and doing good and doing good and doing good, and they can say, man, but I'm still struggling and I still ain't making it and I still ain't where I want to be. not understanding that all blessings aren't material. That heart attack that you ain't had, how cohesive your family is, the drama that you guys avoid, how pure everything is around you, that's a spiritual blessing. You are divinely protected. And we get caught up on the material side of life. Things we buy to cover up what's inside because they made us love their wealth and hate ourselves. That's why Shorty holler where the ball is at. Oh, but when you step away from the material side of life and understand that the best things in life are free, the ability to laugh, to smile, to run, to jump, to take a cold shower, to see your kids play sports, to make friends, just all of the things that you truly enjoy on a daily basis, they don't cost much money. But the things that really cost money, they truly cheap. I mean, we know that's why they all factories are sourced overseas to get them made cheaper. And when they can send them somewhere else, they're gonna keep getting them made cheaper because the material things ain't what costs. But you can't replace the human connection. The way you feel when you watch this video is super different than if you were sitting watching the AI video because it don't have that spiritual connection. It don't have that human touch. And with how society is advancing and evolving with everything going to artificial intelligence, where we got our phones, we can DoorDash food, we can get Netflix, and we don't have to have any other human interaction if we want to. That's what's gonna be most valuable in the society. It ain't how much money you got in your bank account. It's how many people purely love the spirit in the body. That's what's real. Because you can have all the money, all the cars. I mean, look at celebrity right now. A lot of them take their own life. A lot of them are extremely deviant because lust knows no end. And I'm speaking from experience. The more you chase pleasure, the only thing that was on the other side of there is pain. I remember knocking this girl down, knocking that girl down, knocking that girl down, and it was a baby. Child support, child support. It got ugly. It was beautiful for a while. I was winning till I start losing. And that's what they don't tell you about the energy that you're throwing out. So whatever you comfortable coming back to your front door, then that's what you need to be putting out. And it's never too late to change. It's never too late to shift your frequency. You know, if you're born into a low vibrational environment, probably unconsciously, you're going to be moving on a low vibration and sending out low vibrational energy. But once you know better, you could do better. Raise that vibration. Purify what you eat. Purify what you think. And even if you're in that negative environment, you can live mentally like you're in a different environment. And eventually the physical world will catch up with the mental plane. But you got to protect your energy. Think and Grow Rich, Chapter 11. I talk about that a lot for young men because we live in a world that from the moment you wake up to the time you close your eyes, there are things out there that are pulling your energy away from you, and you don't know the distraction is a distraction until it's completely distracted you. But I only have this knowledge and this wisdom and the ability to look at life from this perspective because my life was easy, as you may say, or it was hard. It's all about perspective, right? And the coolest part about the content that I make, dog, is there's so many stereotypes of the way the young black man thinks. And there was a period when I was extremely stereotypical. I was. But what I understand is the power of influence and the power of seeing something different. And most people, if you don't grow up with a father and have a strong connection with him, you're going to gravitate to the things that are cool to the masses. I think intelligence is extremely popular. It's very, very, very suppressed. But a shift is coming in this world, and the domino effect will happen. And when it explodes, it's going to be beautiful. Because I believe there are tons of young men of all races like me who went through very hard or easy childhoods that have grew up and became successful individuals. And they learn how to articulate themselves. They learn how to speak their story. Because as young boys, we don't talk, cuz if we've been honest, you can't find a picture of me ever smiling. Everything was a mean mug or angry or any of that. It took a while to get comfortable sitting in front of a camera talking like this. But the floodgates are about to open. You about to get a lot of young men telling their stories. And dude, just watch what happens. Just watch. And it's gonna kill a lot of narratives of men of all races because we all be little boys, and when you're a little black boy or a little white boy, everybody love you crawling around and you stand up and you stumble and fall on your butt. It's like, oh. Then he's 16. It's like, look at that little white supremacist. Look at that little nigger who's gonna get killed by the police. It's like, God damn, it was all good just a week ago. So, man, we got to stop living by external expectations of others and just be ourselves and live from the spirit because the inner affects the outer. And once you develop that concept, you kind of look around all these people in life and you develop a level of empathy for them because, like, damn, they've evolved from one level just to be stuck on another one. They get there though, but as I say, we still moving. And even for myself, I don't feel like I've reached the pinnacle of knowledge. I don't even think it's possible. The more I learn, I have a lot to learn. But I'm always open for new information. Um, but if y'all got some new information to share with me, let me know in the comments below. If you got some new artists you want me to react to, let me know in the comments below. If you got some topics you want me to discuss, let me know in the comments below. And we can keep evolving together in this thing called life collectively. I love you all. We outie. I gotta get to a lunch meeting. Heading to see former Chiefs player Ryan Freeman. We got a pretty cool little relationship working on, if you know, the My Calls, My Cleats thing that the NFL does. We're doing some work with that. So you never know where you're going to see me at next, baby. But the same light, the same greatness you see inside of me on everything is inside of you, man. So shine your light, give your art to the world, and just watch what our Heavenly Father does for you. We outie. Peace.